Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the Bitcoin price has played out this hidden bearish divergence, as I'll let you guys know about yesterday here on the channel. And of course, Bitcoin came straight down towards the 21-week SMA as expected. But right now, we're potentially forming a brand new pattern here on the Bitcoin chart, which I will be getting into in just a moment, giving us some brand new price targets to pay attention to. But that is not all. This video is definitely an important one to sit down and watch all the way to the end, because later in the video, I'll be discussing all of these fundamental Bitcoin charts, which actually show a huge move coming soon. And not only that, the order books are showing something very interesting. And right now we've plunged into extreme fear in the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. So once again, make sure you're watching all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on all of that valuable information. And just before I jump into it, make sure to drop a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for more videos just like this one. It only takes a couple seconds out of your day to click that subscribe button, and once again, you're going to be getting all of this valuable content every single day, so I don't see why not. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart here on the 4-hour time frame. And yeah, quickly recapping yesterday's video, I was talking about this hidden bearish divergence that is forming in the chart, which is obviously a bearish sign in the short term. So I'll let you guys know in that video, for as long as we confirm this as resistance with a small little rejection, then I basically said that it's very likely that the Bitcoin price is going to come straight down towards the 21-week simple moving average, which is coming in at just above 41k, close to 41,500 US dollars. And of course, that's pretty much exactly where we've just seen a bounce at the time of filming this video. But getting into potentially a brand new pattern that is forming here on the Bitcoin chart, bringing out this line of support. We've actually seen pretty much 4 perfect touch points if you're looking at the candle bodies and the candle wicks as well, all the way along here. And I'll just take away these moving averages for now, so we don't have as much going on the chart at the moment, so you can actually see what I'm looking at here. And as you can see, we're actually forming a symmetrical triangle pattern on the chart. Now, at the moment, this line of resistance hasn't been confirmed as a significant line on the chart. What we need to see is 3 or more touch points to actually confirm a line as a significant line. Only 2 touch points isn't really enough to actually confirm this as strong resistance. So I would like to see perhaps another touch point along this line to the upside to really confirm that as a significant line. But you can clearly see from the supports just here, we've actually seen 4 perfect touch points along this support so far, which has confirmed this line as some short-term support at the very least. And right now it's coming in at just about where the 21-week SMA is coming in at, which is roughly around 41,500 US dollars. And this line of potential resistance is also coming in pretty close to this red range of resistance that we've already been looking at here on the channel. And that's starting at around 43,500 US dollars is where this descending line of resistance is coming in at. So of course, they're the levels to watch in the immediate short term, because if we're breaking below this important support with a new lower low here on the chart, then obviously we're choosing the continuation of this trend to the downside. But if Bitcoin is breaking above this resistance, obviously we still have this other resistance as well. But if we start getting above all of this resistance just here, and especially making a brand new higher high here on the 4-hour time frame, then obviously that will set up Bitcoin for another short-term bullish trend. And getting into the technical price target for this pattern just here, if we break out to the upside, then the technical price target is coming in at approximately 48,000 US dollars. But also don't forget that we have all of this extra resistance just here, which is really going all the way up towards around 45,000 US dollars. And the technical price target to the downside, if we break below support, is coming in at roughly around 37,500 US dollars. And that price target to the downside is very interesting, as you can see here, because that actually goes straight into this support line for this descending parallel channel that we are currently in on the 4-hour time frame. And on top of that, if you remember that $37,500 price target towards around 38,000, you could almost say, that's actually the technical price target out of this previous rising wedge pattern that is still playing out here on the chart. The technical price target for a rising wedge is the bottom of the wedge, which is this low just here, coming in at roughly around 38,000 US dollars. It's actually just below 38k. So it shares the exact same price target for this potential pattern just here. And in regards to my Bitcoin strategy right now, obviously, if we see a strong break below support, then that would motivate me to open a short position to catch this next potential move to the downside. But once again, we need a confirmed break below support before we can act on any move like that. And obviously, if we're breaking above the resistance with confirmation, then that could set up a potential long long position. But as I mentioned earlier, don't forget about all of this other resistance as well. So technically speaking, a long position is a little bit more riskier right now compared to a short position, just simply considering the trends that we are in. Obviously, you can make money on long positions and on short positions depending on where you're opening and closing those positions, but it's clearly more of a profitable strategy if we're in a downtrend to look for short positions compared to long positions. But something else to mention while we're actually forming this bearish price action here, in regards to my long-term Bitcoin strategy, that really hasn't changed. I'm simply dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and holding that Bitcoin for the long term. And by the way, the lower we go, the heavier I will dollar cost average into Bitcoin. So if we do actually see a break to the downside towards around 38,000 US dollars, pretty much anywhere below 40,000 US dollars, just around here, then I will at that stage start going heavier into Bitcoin. And in my long-term Bitcoin strategy, this Bitcoin that I'm accumulating down here, potentially if we actually get down there, that will all be on the spot market. That will not be a long position or anything because once again, I'm holding that for the long term. So obviously none of that's financial advice. That's just my Bitcoin strategy and my plans for the market depending on how things actually play out in the immediate short term. And just before I jump into all of these important Bitcoin charts, I'll just quickly mention that there's actually a huge airdrop happening right now. So if you like free money, pay attention to this because this is actually the launch of BitDAO over on Bybit. And I've already received about 800 US dollars worth of this crypto completely for free. That is right. Literally all I had to do to get this free $800 is simply sign up for the event with my free Bybit account and just have that account funded with some of my crypto. And once again, I get this free $800 right here. And I don't know if you can see right here, this is actually right now earning 56% per year. So that free $800 that I just received, that was for this previous airdrop that has just expired, but there's a brand new airdrop that's happening in only 10 hours from now, and it's going all the way to around the middle of October. And by the way, you'll find a link to this page just here where you can check all of this out for yourself in the first link in the description. So if you like receiving free money, then you might as well check it out in that first link down below once again. But anyway, getting into this important Bitcoin fundamental chart, this is actually all of the Bitcoin reserves on exchanges. So this gray line here is actually the Bitcoin price, and then the purple line is the amount of Bitcoin that is sitting on all of the exchanges out there. And what this actually means is, of course, if the Bitcoin on exchanges is going lower and lower, that means more and more Bitcoin is getting moved off exchanges, usually into cold storage. And of course, when that's happening, that's taking away from the available supply sitting on exchanges, which is technically speaking, making Bitcoin more scarce for those that want to buy Bitcoin. And obviously that is a bullish sign for the crypto market. So usually when we see these huge withdrawals from the exchanges and the exchange balances dropping to the downside, that comes just before a major move to the upside in the Bitcoin price, as what we've seen towards the end of 2020 and the beginning of this year. And on the flip side, what's very interesting is when we're seeing the exchange balances shoot to the upside, the Bitcoin on exchanges that is, that means that we're likely about to see a Bitcoin crash, or at least a lot of bearish price action. And that's exactly what we saw during May. As you can see here, before the major crash happened during the middle of May, what actually happened weeks before the crash was a huge inflow of Bitcoin onto exchanges. And so of course, when a lot of people out there are getting Bitcoin from their cold storage and putting it onto exchanges, that usually means one thing. It usually means they're about to sell their Bitcoin, which will obviously drag down the price of Bitcoin. And that's exactly what we saw during May, as you can see. And then just hiding my face cam so you can see the most recent price action. What's interesting is we saw a huge inflow of Bitcoin onto exchanges right as we capitulated down towards around 29,000 US dollars per Bitcoin, where we finally bottomed out just here. And then we saw a huge outflow of Bitcoin from these exchanges, which was actually bullish for the Bitcoin price. And what came next was a lot of bullish price action over the next 1.5 months approximately. But what's very interesting about the last 3 to 4 weeks just here, we've seen a lot of Bitcoin actually getting withdrawn from exchanges and going into cold storage. So this is obviously taking away from the available supply sitting on exchanges, making Bitcoin more and more scarce for those that want to buy it. And in fact, right now, the amount of Bitcoin sitting on exchanges is at its lowest level that we've seen in years. And fundamentally speaking, that is actually bullish for the Bitcoin price. Traditionally, that comes right before a major move to the upside. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on what's happening here and keeping you guys in the loop here on the channel. So don't forget to subscribe with notifications turned on so that you're not missing out on any of these important updates. Because of course, if we see a huge inflow onto exchanges, then that means we're going to see another dump most likely in the Bitcoin price. But especially if the current trend continues with all of this Bitcoin flowing out of exchanges while the price is taking a dip, this means that we are in an amazing buying opportunity, fundamentally speaking. Now, now taking a quick look at this chart just here. This is the Bitcoin stablecoin supply ratio. So once again, the gray line just here is the Bitcoin price, but the purple line this time round is actually the Bitcoin market cap divided by the stablecoin market cap. So when the purple line is all the way up here at these higher levels, that means the Bitcoin's market cap is obviously much more valuable than the stablecoin's market cap. So usually that means Bitcoin is a little bit overvalued, and we've got a lot more Bitcoin being able to be sold on the market compared to stablecoins potentially buying Bitcoin. But then when the purple line is dropping to the downside, that means that the Bitcoin market cap is dropping to the downside in comparison to the stablecoin market cap, which basically just means when the purple line is at these higher levels all the way up here, we have a lot of potential selling pressure for Bitcoin. But when we're all the way down here at these lower levels, we have a lot of potential buying pressure stored in the form of stablecoins. So of course, when we're seeing a huge increase in this purple line, we're due for some bearish price action sometime soon. And of course, we started to see that earlier in the year with a peak towards January this year, but a lot of action around February, March, and April, which is exactly where we reached the all-time high for Bitcoin. Then of course, when we plunge to these lower levels, that is a time to be bullish on Bitcoin. And just hiding my face cam so you can see the most recent data, as you can see here. The moment this ratio actually started heading to the upside, that actually meant that stablecoins were starting to be deployed into the market, which of course means that that potential buying energy was finally being released into Bitcoin. And that was obviously very bullish for the Bitcoin price during this time period just here in between around July and September. And then once this ratio started topping out and actually started heading to the downside, that means people are actually moving more Bitcoin back into stablecoins. But what's great to see is we're already pretty close to the same sort of levels where we actually bottomed out during this entire time period just here when Bitcoin was close to 30,000 US dollars. So we've still got a lot of buying pressure just built up in these stable coins waiting to be deployed in the current Bitcoin market. So fundamentally speaking, this is leaning towards another great buying opportunity coming soon. And if you're wondering exactly how much stable coins is sitting on exchanges ready to buy Bitcoin right now, this is the answer to that question. So once again, the gray line is the Bitcoin price, but the purple line this time around is the total amount of stable coins sitting on exchanges. And right now we're actually sitting at just about all-time highs. That is right. We've never had more stable coins sitting on exchanges than what we have right now. And if you're wondering exactly how much this is, it's actually around 19 billion US dollars worth of stable coins just sitting on exchanges ready to buy Bitcoin soon. And so the lower the Bitcoin price goes, the more likely that these stable coins are going to start entering into the market, like what we saw here in the Bitcoin to stablecoin supply ratio. So to completely summarize all of this, it basically means there's a lot of buying pressure built up in stablecoins waiting to buy Bitcoin, especially the further down the Bitcoin price actually goes. So fundamentally speaking, we're still actually looking pretty bullish here moving forward. And when you combine this with the Bitcoin order books across all of these exchanges, it completely backs up that fundamental analysis. As you can see here, we actually do not have a lot of sell orders to the upside, at least across these exchanges. But when you're looking at the buy orders to the downside, we have an insane amount of buy orders coming in at around 39,500 US dollars, and they continue to constantly increase to the downside as we go lower and lower towards 38,000 and even below that. So this is all providing huge supports for the Bitcoin price towards around 38,000 give or take. So basically for the Bitcoin price to go any lower than around 38,000 US dollars, we're going to need a serious amount of Bitcoin getting deposited onto exchanges and sold straight onto the market, because once again, there's a lot of people wanting to buy Bitcoin at these prices. So you're going to need to have more Bitcoin than all of this money sitting in these buy orders. And right now, according to the Bitcoin balance on exchanges, we're simply not seeing that. We're actually seeing more Bitcoin getting withdrawn from exchanges. And combine all of that with the fact that right now we're sitting in extreme fear in the markets, showing that pretty much right now people are actually panic selling Bitcoin. This is all fundamentally speaking looking very bullish for the Bitcoin price. The one and only thing that's bearish about Bitcoin right now is the technical analysis. The charts here are still in a downtrend for the Bitcoin price, but fundamentally speaking, we actually are looking very bullish. And so when you're combining all of this together right now, technically speaking, in the immediate short term, once again, we're looking a little bit more bearish. So we could see maybe one more move to the downside, but fundamentally speaking, this is the time that I am accumulating. Once again, that's not financial advice, but the last time we were in this situation with all of these fundamental indicators, we were actually reaching a bottom towards 30,000 US dollars a few months ago. And obviously that turned out to be an amazing buying opportunity for the longer term. So yes, technically speaking, in the shorter term, we can still head a little bit further to the downside here, but in the slightly longer term, looking over the next few months or so, and especially looking towards the end of 2021 and even beginning of 2022, the Bitcoin fundamentals are all saying that we are due for a pretty strong finish for the year. So use that information how you would like to, but once again, right now I'm dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, and if we go any lower, I will be increasing my buys into Bitcoin. And by the way, if you want to get extra Bitcoin updates throughout the day, make sure you're following me over on my Twitter, because I give these real-time updates for you over on my Twitter once again, and you'll find a link to my Twitter in the description down below. And this account just here, by the way, with around 28,500 followers, is my only real Twitter account. So if any other Twitter account that looks like it's mine that tries to contact you and ask for your crypto or anything like that, that is a complete scammer. And please make sure you're blocking and also reporting those accounts. My only real Twitter account is the one that's linked in the description of this video. But anyway, that's about everything I have to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope you got something valuable out of this video. And if you did, be sure to drop a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this one. And make sure you're sharing these videos around with your friends to get your friends involved in this amazing opportunity that we are seeing right now. These type of opportunities do not come very often. So seriously, there's never been a better time to share these videos around with your friends, and there's never been a better time to stay active in these markets. But anyway, that's really everything I have to say for this video. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.